Welcome to the Parker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty. You suck.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by...
Just Patrick Carey.
just the two of us. You can contact us on email at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. I've been playing a lot of stuff, sadly not in VR yet.
What have you been playing?
Well, I had a week off and I thought now's a good time to sort of hammer through my pile of shame. Just a quick update about The Division. Recently, Ian and Matt and Radders, friend of the show, they all started playing. I joined in with them at the weekend, and they already are level 20. They really hit it hard. So suffice to say, we're all enjoying that quite a lot. Division's really good, like level 16 in it now. But anyway, so I played through a bunch of stuff. First one I'll mention is one that you've played as well, which is Grow Home. We've all slowly got to this.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
It is cool, yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed the sort of creation aspect of it.
Yeah.
I found it a little bit obtuse in a way, like I wasn't really sure what I was doing, and I also found like some of the motion is a little bit awkward. The climbing is a bit fiddly, and also when you're actually flying along, because you basically grow these branches that have other branches on them, and you have to kind of use these branches to kind of connect up to islands and reach places. And I thought the locomotion of that would be a little more fun. But it's amazing when you sort of look down behind you and you're like, whoa, look at that mess of stuff I just made.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great little idea and well worth a look. Not very expensive, and I think that like once you've sort of done it, you can sort of play it more if you want to do like the whole treasure hunt thing. But I was kind of done with it after about 3 hours. And it was totally fine. But yeah, I'm glad you guys mentioned it, because I might not have got to it otherwise.
Cool. Yeah, I thought that was a really sweet little game.
Yeah. I also played the Dishonored DLC. The Brigmore Witches and the Knife of Dunwall, the other way round. Those two DLC packs combined are about the same length as the actual main game. And you play as Dowd, one of the guys. I think you end up taking him out in the course of the main game. Little bit dismayed with how it ran on my system. I had to turn VSync off and drop the resolution, otherwise I was getting some horrible flickering. I guess this is just I think the latest Nvidia drivers have been a bit shit.
Right.
Yeah, had the same thing on another game I'll mention in a bit. But as for the game itself, in the first game I played it low chaos. Did you play Dishonored?
Yeah. I think I played both of those DLCs as well.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I won't go on at too much length. It's an old game at this point, but it's aged really well.
It was a great game though, wasn't it?
I think the art style has really helped it age.
Yeah. Like I think if you take a couple of risks with your art, I think you make it unique enough to age well. I think you make it unique enough that it isn't trying to be of the time. It's just trying to be its own thing.
Yeah, that's it. And also, like, as well as like the caricatured people, it's the same guy that did like Half-Life 2, isn't it? A lot of the scenery and all the whole cyberpunk thing. So it looks really cool. But yeah, when I first played the original game, I played it ever so sneakily. Didn't want to avoiding all the confrontation, and in doing that, I missed a completely different game that was what I did when I played the DLC, because I thought, well, I'm playing kind of an you're playing like one of the antagonists from the main game. So I thought I'll do it high chaos and I'll just kill everybody.
Yeah.
So I just loaded up on crossbow bolts and didn't care about tripping alarms and just stabbed everybody up. And it was a great laugh. They're really quite forgiving with the combat in that. Or if you build your character a certain way, armor him up and stuff, it's not like instant death straight away, which you sort of get into it, and I really enjoyed it. Lots of cool. You get a summon ability, which I don't think was in the original. You can summon assassins, which is handy if you get into a ruckus. And yeah, really good. And I'm happy to play the next one. I think because I think that world's unique enough to justify there being more of it.
Yeah.
And they've taken
absolutely.
their time, so hopefully it'll be like a bit of a step up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, not much more to say about that. Oh, the only thing I didn't like about it, going back to it, was all the fucking collectibles. Like that, there's so much text. It's really pissing me off. It's like, oh, it's too late now. You've already interrupted my game. I'll read it now. It's too late when you click on something. And I had the same issue with another first-person shooter that I played recently, which I finished last night actually, called Call of Juarez Gunslinger, which is by Techland, who are better known for Dead Island and Dying Light more recently. But before that, they did like all these Call of Juarez games, a lot of which I'd not heard great things about, but I kept hearing good things about this one, which is the last one they did. And in this game, you're playing Silas Greaves, who's a bounty hunter, and the whole game is told from his perspective. So he's telling you about how he had all these run-ins with Billy the Kid and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, the Wild Bunch, all these different like Wild West legends. And so you're going through the combat in the game has a couple of little unique aspects in that like if you're almost about to die, you've got like a chance to dodge the bullet that's going to kill you just by moving left or the right quickly enough. Also, you have this like bullet time thing that builds up, so you can like and if you keep firing, it maintains it. So the idea is you have to get these mad like chain kills and stuff.
Are you playing this on mouse and keyboard or?
I was playing it on a controller because I wanted to have the dual triggers.
Is it like dual targeters as well? Is it like
no? Although in between missions you have like standoffs, and you have to use one analog stick to aim your drawing hand, and the other one to for your aim, and then you basically wait, and then it gets to a point where there's a heartbeat going, and then if you draw then that's dishonorable. You have to wait for them to draw first, and then you have like this split second chance to shoot them and also perhaps dodge the bullet they shoot at you if you're not quick enough. And there's also like Mexican standoffs in it as well, where you have to like literally flip your whole view from one to the other and just keep looking at them to see which one of them's looking at you. So it's like fucking mental.
That's going to be amazing when someone does that in VR and you've actually got to like look around.
Yeah,
you.
do that.
That
is such an obvious mechanic, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Multiplayer as well.
But it looks really good. It's not a long game. It was like about 5 hours long, but it's not the kind of game you can do in one sitting because it is a bit of a one-trick pony. And it's kind of just layering on the same sort of thing. The levels do change. It's really quite a pretty game actually. One of the benefits of going back to games that are like 2 or 3 years old is they all run like butter. And that Techland engine, I think it's the Chrome engine. It's really, really nice. Some really nice effects. There's levels that are on these big rickety bridges that are all wired for explosives. There's missions on trains. It's all the tropes they managed to get in there, but it's not an open world. It's just linear levels that some of them are quite sort of branching, where there are different ways around it. There are like levels in caves which are quite creepy actually, where you've got Indians running at you and stuff. And and some like really interesting encounters. I really rate it. I see what all the fuss is about now. It's a really underrated and probably underplayed FPS. It's not multiplayer. There's none of that. It's you can do New Game Plus afterwards, or there's all these sort of like there's like an arcade mode where you just have to stay alive as long as you can and things like that. But I definitely rate that, and it's well worth checking out.
Cool.
Yeah. What else have I got? There was a few other things. The Swapper. Have you tried this one? I've
seen it and I've heard about it. It's the claymation one.
Yeah, that's it. It's got a really weird aesthetic. It looks.
It's actual physical objects they use to make the art for it.
Yeah, it looks like everything's wrapped in tinfoil and stuff.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird. You're like an astronaut, and you just kind of get to this place, and you pick up this device that basically allows you to create another version of yourself, and then you can move, and that's like the left click or triggers, whatever. It actually works better with the mouse because it's more one-to-one. It's a little bit there's a little bit of like acceleration on the stick on the controller. I didn't like it so much.
Right.
But yeah, so you create a copy of yourself, and then you use the other device, the other button or whatever, to move your consciousness to that version of yourself. So you're swapping. Basically, you can create up to 4 different versions of yourself, and there are different lights that prevent you from either placing someone between it or teleporting yourself over to it. So it's a little bit tricky, little bit of switching things here and there, and there's lots of little puzzles. But there is a moment in the game where I just was like, "This is impossible. How can I do it?" And I was just like, I wonder if I can do this. And I was like, holy fuck, penny drop. And it was like I hadn't experienced that since Portal. You know, that kind of sort of, oh my god, eureka, this game is so smart. It didn't tell me I could do that. I just figured it out. And it continues to do that. And that particular mechanic, you know, you're using that all the time after that. So I was really impressed with that. It's not a long game. I think I picked it up in a Humble Bundle ages ago, but it was just on the old backlog, and I thought I'll finally give it a go. So recommend that too. A game I wouldn't bother with is Consortium. Actually, Adam, who was on this show last week or the week before or whenever this goes out, I saw that he had put it on his wish list, so that immediately attracted my attention.
It's his fault.
Yeah, Adam's fault.
Nice one, Adam.
Well, it attracted me because I know that he's very fussy and he doesn't have much time to play, so I played it for him effectively.
Right.
But it's a great idea.
Adam,
I think
don't get it. Shit.
Yeah. It was a Kickstarter game, and it's essentially you are, the fiction of it is that you're like there's like some sort of satellite or something that enables you to kind of inhabit someone's body in the future. There's a bit of a chess metaphor going on in that all the ranks are sort of named after like various different chess pieces. So you occupy this bishop who's on this plane journey from like I'm not sure from where, but it's going to Dublin, and there's like there's some kind of political problem going on, and most of the game you're just talking to other characters, and the voice acting is really quite well done. I will give it that. But essentially it's like you're just walking around talking to people, which is fine in a game like Firewatch perhaps, where it's really well written, but in this it's just kind of like, it's just incredibly verbose. There's just so much dialogue. It felt like I was in an episode of Star Trek, you know, where nothing really is going on and it's all just, you know, being told what to do and stuff. So I quite like the sort of ability of it to sort of make me feel like I was taking part in some sort of drama.
It sounded pretty interesting right up until you saying you just went around talking to people, and that was
the idea is great. It's just not especially well executed.
Yeah.
They had another Kickstarter to do the sequel to it, and it failed. I think they're still trying to do it, but yeah, it's not a very long game though, so it didn't outstay its welcome. But it's just apparently I think at the time they were doing the Kickstarter they were running like an ARG, and there's a bit in the game where you just end up talking to this AI and he's like, you will know me if you are familiar with the ARG, and it's like, what? I don't even know what you're talking about, mate. It's just like F1, F2, just getting through these conversations, please end soon now. You know, I was just fed up. So yeah, maybe it did outstay its welcome.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, that was my little mad catch up on the pile of shame. I think that's all I've got.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I've been playing some Technolust.
Oh yeah, how's that?
Yeah,
now?
it's great. It's been a while since I played any of the kind of beta builds, but this is the first kind of proper release. It's really cool. It's way more polished than it was before. It runs great. Like it's been ages since I spoke about it, so I'll briefly mention what it is. Technolust is basically a VR adventure, which is very much in the kind of same kind of style as Blade Runner. It's very, very cyberpunk, like kind of 80s, late 80s cyberpunk.
Very much so.
You know, dark cities, flying cars, VR, hacking, giant robots, all of that stuff. And yeah, it's just really cool. It's a cool little adventure game. I've seen quite a lot of these in VR, in that because it's in VR, it needs less game components. Like, you kind of, it is largely an experiential thing. There is, puzzle elements and stuff like that, but it largely is, just going through the world. And, well, at least in the kind of first sort of 45 minutes that I've tried so far, there's little bits of interaction, and you have to play little like kind of mini games and stuff. Like there's little kind of cool hacking mini games, which you're kind of presented with to prove yourself to the hacker group that are a part of the storyline. But yeah, that was really cool as well.
Is there much beyond the apartment now? Because I remember
there is. Yeah, it's I've just got actually out into the I think they're called the Outlands or something like that, but it's basically like a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and
really?
It's all sort of big and bright and dusty, and it's very, very different. And I think you actually, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but I think you actually leave the planet as well.
Oh,
so
cool.
It's kind of cool. But
are you still moving around with that, like sort of walking? Is that the?
Yeah, so there's various kind of comfort modes. So when you turn in it, it will always turn you like 90 degrees.
Oh,
like
okay.
Suddenly. And that's to stop you feeling sick, basically. It's a comfort thing. I get the impression, because that wasn't part of the original locomotion, I get the impression that maybe Oculus had suggested that be in there as part of it being part of the Oculus store. I think they have very kind of strict criteria on like comfort
levels.
Yeah. So like and it works. For someone like me, it's not perfect because I don't suffer from that sickness from the traditional thumbstick, and it's more immersive. Yeah, that kind of sudden jolting thing is a bit. It's not ideal. If
they're doing that in Minecraft as well, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, because it works. It does stop people making people feel sick. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and it's pretty much configurable. So you can't turn it off. No, you can't turn it off. But there's comfort modes which will stop the kind of the linear movement.
Right.
So it'll basically do it in bursts going forward. So if people are really sensitive, they're not going to get sick. You can turn that off. But maybe later on I'll put a menu option to turn it off. But
okay.
But yeah, it's cool. It's cool, and it's just cool to see that become like an actual launch product after years as well. Because that's a really old one. That was DK1 the first time I showed you that. Is it actually done now? Or is
it...
yeah, it's on the store. I think it's on the Oculus store now.
Oh, cool.
So
What
yeah.
are the prices like on the Oculus store?
Well, Eve Valkyrie is $39.
Really? Oh, okay.
I don't know.
$39 isn't like mega though.
No, I guess it's not crazy. Kronos is. Oh, sorry, no, sorry, dude. I've just checked it again. It's $59.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, so yeah, full price then.
So full price. Kronos is $49.99. Adrift is $19.99. That's a bit of a shorter experience, though.
Yeah, I've heard some stuff about Adrift that is quite sort of is putting me off, to be honest. In that apparently there's lots of like timed stuff where you're kind of under pressure to get air all the time, and
right.
And you'd expect, from what I'd seen, it looked like it'd be a more laid back experience, but it's like constantly pushing you through it and making you. It sounds really stressful, to be honest.
I kind of expected that, to be honest. I thought that it was going to be a high tension game because it was kind of meant to be that kind of Gravity experience.
Yeah.
And
I suppose
even just watching Gravity in 3D, like I probably spent most of the film with my hands out like this, just trying to hold. And I wasn't watching it in VR or anything. I was just watching it in normal 3D TV. But I spent the whole film going So like that's what I kind of expected Adrift to be. But the only criticism I've really heard is that it's made a lot of people sick. That it looks like there's quite a lot of sort of traditional non-VR locomotion design in, and it's making people queasy, which is not good. But it's on the Oculus store, so that's kind of confusing. But there's a few bits on there, but the prices are kind of what you'd expect, really.
Cool. Right. Any other games?
What have I tried? Switch Cars. I played a little cool indie game called Switch Cars, which is like a weird kind of side-scrolling time travel bonkers thing where you're essentially just moving from vehicle to vehicle, moving left to right across the screen, being chased by these kind of environmental disaster things that are going. It's a bonkers game. I don't really get it. I played it for about 10 minutes. It was kind of fun.
Is that on mobile or is
no? That's a PC game. It's got about It's got about 8 pixels in it though, so I can understand why you'd think that.
It looks like proper old Spectrum stuff.
Yeah,
like I've not heard of this.
Proper low poly.
Cool. I'll tell you what I did today actually. Just because I mentioned mobile to myself and reminding myself, I whacked 20 quid down and got all the Steve Jackson Ian Livingstone books for my iPhone.
Oh yeah. Is there a hold the page option in the iPad version?
You can set a bookmark. Yeah.
So you can do because I didn't mean to actually do that. I actually meant to do the other thing.
Yeah, I've already used it.
When you fall in a pit.
I already died. I played it for like half an hour on my train home tonight, and I died already. It's like, no, you did it. I don't know. I was just playing it like grown up, how I normally play stuff. First thing that happens is you go left. Okay, I go left. You go to a cottage. There's an old woman with a hunchback in there. There's potions and books all around the room. Do you want to go inside? No! It's a witch, obviously. Like, I'll get murdered.
Yeah.
So, I've realised I need to actually adjust my my attitude with that game and just do it all. But I tell you what, I did when I rolled my stats for it, I got a 12 for my stamina, so I'm just walking all the fights. Like killing everything. So,
cool.
That's good. But then it'll fuck you over with the luck roll. So, because I've got no luck. So bad shit happens. But yeah, I've got all those. I've got I think it's Forest of Doom, Caverns of the Snow Witch, House of Hell, Appointment with Fear, which is the superhero one, Starship Traveller. I think there's like 8 or 9 of them. So I just thought, fuck it, I'll play those.
Awesome. I'd love it if they one day get the Ready Player One treatment. Have you Ready Player One yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay, so this isn't really spoilerish. This is basically the main storyline. But in the VR that they have in Ready Player One, there's lots of kind of I guess, kind of like museum-like builds of classic non-digital games. So there's like Dungeons and Dragons, but there's like the VR version.
Right.
And so like having those games made into like VR versions would be amazing. You could totally do that.
Well, the company that make those like those iOS ports are actually, they did a Kickstarter for Warlock of Firetop Mountain, and and what they're doing is they're making it like a book as well, but they're also doing it as though it's like a full tabletop experience that they could port to VR. Probably, it's in a proper 3D engine. Yeah. So I'll put a link to that in the show notes. But fighting fantasy stuff. I just love it. They've taken all the illustrations and like made them all colour and stuff, and it's really nice treatment of it.
Cool.
And you get to play them all properly and not have to have all the paper and pen and dice and shit. It's like you can actually do it properly, and they're perfect. But have we got anything else?
No, I think that's it.
That's it. Yeah. This has been the Not Playing Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself and Ian talk about movies and TV on the Not Watching Podcast, and Adam Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening Podcast. You can email us at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening on iTunes, please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya. Bye.
My friend, I'm inclined to agree, 'cause I suck at Call of Duty. There's no hope for me. I suck at